I'm Mike DeCanio. This is my 1985 NanChang CJ6.
The NanChang is a Chinese copy of the Soviet Union's Yak aircraft that was first built in 1958 and continued production up until almost the 1990s. They were used as primary trainers for the Chinese Air Force, and recently surplus aircraft have made their way to the United States. One of the unique features about this aircraft is there are no hydraulics. Everything is used on compressed air. This was a special day because Mike took us up with some of his local flying group and taught us how to fly formations.
I started in high school, Civil Air Patrol guy, solar gliders when I was 14. Went off to college and started working for the Navy after college. Flew A-7s and F-18s, did about 7 years there. Got out, bounced around flying a couple different jobs. I did 747 freighters for about 2.5 years. I flew MD-80s for a small company that's no longer around. And then finally, about 22 years ago, got lucky enough to get hired by Southwest. And I've been there ever since. But I bought a Cessna 180 and I've had a 180 off and on for 25 years. I still have a 180 now. I have a 1960 and then I have my 1985 NanChang. The Chinese Air Force built them starting in 1958. It's a primary trainer. So if you were 19 years old, joining the Chinese Air Force, this is what they teach you how to fly in, teach you how to navigate in. They put about 2,000, 2,500 hours on the airplane and the Chinese are done with it. They pull the wings off. 20 years ago, some guy found out about them, started importing them to the US. There's about 200 of them here now. They were made continually from about 59 till 85, or to about 90 actually. And they're actually in the process of assembling 12 more out of the parts they had at the assembly line. So the airplane is an old design, but they didn't do much change at all from 85 to early 90s. You know, when I got out of the Navy, there are two things I missed, was blowing stuff up and flying formation. And I can't find anybody to let me blow stuff up. But we do a lot of formation with this. In the Dallas area, there's 6 or 7 NanChangs, and we get together every chance we can to go fly formation or do a missing man formation for somebody, or maybe a NASCAR flyover. But it's a fun group of people to hang out with. Yeah, it weighs about 2,500 pounds. I've got a 400 horsepower Russian motor, which is an upgrade to it, but it cruises only about 15 gallons an hour. I cruise at about 160 miles per hour. There's no hydraulics on it. It's all pneumatic powered. We start the engine with compressed air. Flaps, brakes, steering, it's all compressed air, so it's a really simple system. You know, it's meant to be maintained by some guy with a high school education in some dirt field in China someplace. So it's built like a tank. It just goes and goes and it's easy to work on. Well, the propeller, some people would say it turns the wrong way. It does turn the opposite way. So on takeoff, instead of right rudder, it takes left rudder. And if you want to do a good aileron roll, where generally American airplanes roll faster to the left, we roll faster to the right. Built like a tank. It's a metal airplane, metal fuselage with fabric flight controls. So there's a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new. 9-cylinder radial motor, leaks oil all over the place, but it runs great. And if you can turn the propeller, it's probably going to start and fly. Well, there's oil on the floor there, and if you want to keep your hangar oil free, this is the wrong airplane to own. If it's not leaking oil, it's because it's out. Most mechanics, when you ask them to look at the airplane, they're kind of like, oh, I don't know anything about round motors, but if you can bring them to the side and show them the airplane, it's a really simple system. And once they take a look at it, it's not hard. But sometimes finding a mechanic who wants to turn a wrench on a Chinese airplane, they just say no on the phone. Well, I'm part of the Red Star Aviators Red Star Club. It's a group nationwide that flies any kind of communist bloc airplanes, L-39s, Yaks, CJs, those kind of things. And it's just a group where not only is there a website with great form, but there's also parts, knowledge, diagrams, mechanical help. There's just a wealth of knowledge for the guy who's never touched an airplane like this before. Somebody before you has had that same sort of problem, and you can find the answer on the forum to an issue you might have. The Pegasus project. On our ranch, we have 71 X-ray as my identifier. It's a grass runway 15 miles west of the Tyler Airport. We have a fly-in every year in April. This year it's April 20th. Last year we had over 1,000 people, 17 or 18 airplanes, 4 helicopters, skydivers, and it's all to support our horse rescue, the Pegasus project. You know, you try to have a fundraiser for a horse rescue, and you get horse people to show up. Bring airplanes, now we get airplanes and horse people to show up, and we can explain to them the problem about rescued and the neglected horses in East Texas. And we get to have an air show for it, and that's April 20th. We started a rescue about 10 years ago because there were 2 horses that the sheriff didn't know where to take them. It had limited possibilities. So my wife said, you know, she's a horse person. I'd like to do something about a rescue. So we started with those 2 horses, and the phone started ringing. And we realized there's a huge need. We get a phone call every day from somebody who's got 3 or 4 starving horses, or they found some starving horses or neglected horses. We could have 200 horses in a month without even trying. So there's a big need for it, but horses are expensive. So we are raising money every day. Our budget's over $400,000. That's just supporting 50 horses that we are nursing back to health, training to ride, and then adopting out and bringing in another sick horse. So the Pegasus project, we're big fans of it. The airplane is really easy to fly. If you can start it and taxi it, I promise you can fly it. Nose wheel steering, there's none. It's just a cast ring nose wheel. So we've got those pneumatic brakes we talked about. So it's left or right rudder to make the nose turn. It's a little bit funny. You can always tell a new NanChang pilot because they can't get lined up on the runway, or they have issues starting it. It can be a little bit, there's a lot of pumping and cranking and stuff to get the engine started. But like I said, it's a tractor. Once it gets going, it just goes. I love it. I'm never going to sell it. I'm never going to paint it.
All right. Before getting up in the air, we needed to do a briefing. With 3 aircraft flying at close formation, things like maneuvers, expectations, and frequencies needed to be discussed. All right, we're all briefed up. Gonna go set the cameras out, and we're gonna go fly. I was excited to fly in a piece of history like this, and yes, we had to wear parachutes. Flying with us today, we had another NanChang and a T-28, which you will see in a later episode.
Priming.
You start using air, huh?
I do. Clear.
How old is this airplane?
1985.
Oh, that's it, 1985.
Yeah, so they look way older than they are. The 1958 design.
I heard they were starting to build some more, maybe, right?
You know, I talked to a guy at Oshkosh from the factory. He says that's not, it was kind of an exaggeration.
Oh, really?
Says they have enough parts to build 12. And that's
Oh,
what they're
okay.
gonna do. So just a cast ring nose wheel. The hardest part about this airplane is taxiing it.
Right.
And it's not hard.
Everything's in Chinese.
Yeah. Lancaster, flight of 3, taxiing runway 13, Lancaster. Lancaster traffic, Yak, flight of 3. Departing runway 13, remaining overhead, Lancaster.
So even though they're Chinese made, you still kind of refer to them as yaks?
Yeah, nobody's ever heard of a NanChang. You say NanChang, they're like, what?
Yeah.
And a little bit of a left crosswind, so we'll take the downwind side. I'm just gonna wait for him to pull up and give me a thumbs up, and we'll blast out of here. Primer's locked, air's on.
Lancaster traffic, Bluffs returning left base, left.
There we go.
All right, ready.
All green. 32 inches. 70. 80. Go flying. Gears coming up. Gears up.
You can hear the air, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and smooth.
It's been beautiful this morning. Waiting for JJ to call airborne. We'll start a left-hand turn.
left base.
I'm sorry, I forgot his name and the other yak.
Ed?
Ed, he's pulling up on this side of you, down here?
He is, and you see him just right there above the
okay.
runway?
Yeah. How often do y'all go out and practice formation flying?
Now, we do it pretty much, we try to do 2 weekends a month if the weather's decent.
Yeah.
We've been in struggle here the last couple of months. Ed does not have his formation card yet, so we're training Ed. That's a cool picture.
Yeah. So the rationale behind flying so close together?
Now we get ourselves a group of airplanes someplace quicker.
Oh, right. Yeah, kinda like...
yeah, it's got legs in the military, but it'll make you a much better pilot.
Your lead, your situational awareness, he's just keeping right on you.
Yes. I'm gonna wiggle my rudder and move them out here.
Okay.
Tuna flight, push next to. So now there's a frequency change happening. I'll give them a second to work it all out. Tuna flight check. 2.
So obviously you have your preset frequencies. So
That's
like
right.
in combat, you're not advertising where you're going.
Right, and it just saves on a wordage.
Yeah. But in a combat situation, you would obviously spread out, right? This is just for traveling.
That's right.
Okay. But I guess you would still do wingman though in a combat situation. You still have one person with you. Maybe not as tight though.
Right. And I'm gonna bring them back in now with a wing wag. And now we'll do some shuffling. So now he's going to switch to the other side. I'm waiting for him to get back into position, and we're going to cross Ed again. So now Ed's going to cross back under. Now I'm crossing him under. JJ, you have the lead.
Soldier 1's got the lead. Soldier flight check.
2.
3.
Okay, I want to fly on him. Echelon turn. So we're going to keep him on the horizon. When we're outside of the turn, it takes a bunch more power. And Ed out there is pushing the power way up to stay in position. little bit behind where I need to be. Now he rolls wings level, I'm going faster than he is. For a second brake, okay.
So when you were Navy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how often would you guys go practice this?
all the time.
Yeah.
Now we always did everything in at least 2 shifts. Okay, so now we're gonna. Head should be following us.
Yeah, when you're on the inside of the turn, you go low, and you're on the outside, you go high.
That's right. You just maintain the same relative position.
Number 2, take 400 feet separation off of 1.
2. Okay, so we're going to take 400 feet of separation. Right about.
Number 3, call in. 3. And number 2, call in.
2's in. Lost Ed.
He's right behind us.
Perfect. He penetrates better than we do. A little bit of smoke.
Just clean my windshield, Mike.
So I'm not touching the power, I'm just maintaining position by cutting him off or letting him get out ahead of us.
Yeah.
But when he goes uphill, he leaves us behind.
Yeah.
So I gotta leave to the inside of the turn so he doesn't get too far away.
Trojan flight, rejoin. Left turning.
Left turn. So I wanna get to this side of him.
Back up to try to close these Trojans. It's going to be overhead runway 31 or correction 13 for full stop to 3.
Pick up some smoke. Smoke is off. I'll get it back on here in a second.
Smoke on the T-down.
Smoke is on. 1001, 1002, 1003. Smoke is off. Wind is right down the runway.
So we just kind of do a, over midfield, you kind of do a turn and then everybody kind of separates.
That's right, gives us spacing for landing. We'll be fairly close. His gear went down, we're going to give it another potato or two. About there is put our wheels down.
Hear the air and feel it too.
Yeah.
Three green lights, I see them.
Got 3 sticks, thank you. Now Ed should be equally spaced behind us. We'll know here in a turn. Just a second.
Lancaster traffic, children 1 to turning final run, 3 full stop Lancaster.
Okay, lots of gas, undercarriage, mixture of prop, just the flaps to go. Don't see Ed back there at all. There's our flap speed, here come the flaps. We fly a pretty steep approach in this airplane.
Ah.
Here the flaps are down, the landing checklist is complete. Trojan 2 base 3 green, full stop Lancaster. Yeah, I don't see Ed out there at all.
Yeah, I see him, he's a little low.
Okay. We're going to land on the left side of the runway.
Trojan 3 green,
3 green
final
lights.
Lancaster.
All right.
That was ugly.
Hey, on the ground, nicely done. Well, that's really cool. I've never really, you know, you fly formation when you're in flight school, but not like that. We weren't ever that organized, you know.
Well, it's that's the absolute basics of it right there.
Yeah.
When JJ and I go do it, we go do aerobatics.
It really was cool getting a lesson in formation flying. Unfortunately, I screwed up the footage saying goodbye to Mike, but please go check out his foundation, the Pegasus Rescue. Well, thank you for watching another episode of Flying Doodles. A lot of fun getting to do this, formation flying, all that, really cool. Please click the like button. If you do like what you see, why don't you subscribe as well? There's like 80% of you that watch them, but they don't subscribe. Why not? I mean, if you like these videos, it'll just, next time there's a video, it'll pop up and you can watch it. Thanks again also, and patreon.com/flyingdoodles. That's how we fund this. There's a link in the show notes. You can email me. Let's go fly together. We're going to be cruising around the US, filming stuff.